Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yasodanandana Raja Janananda Yasodanandana Raja Janananda Yamuna Tira Vanacharya Yamuna Tira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Vanda Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridharadhari Yasodanandana Raja Janananda Yamuna Tira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Gaura Premanandi, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Radha Shama Sundar Lalita Prasaka Devis ki jai, Shri Jayadev Goswami Tirobha Mahamahotsav ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru Angaranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachadine Nevasesha Sanyavadi Pastyatya Desha Tadine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 2, text number 8, is that correct? Bano Imam Bhagavataha Chatapatra Patro Shanto Apunka Ruchirao Atitik Madantao Kasmai Yuyungshasi Vane Vicharan Navidmaha Shemaya Naha Jadadiyam Tava Vikramaha Astu Bana Vimo Bhagavatak Shatapata Patro Shanta Vapunkar Ruchiravati Tikmadanto Kasmaya Yungshasivane Vicharani Vidma Kshemaya no Jadadiyam Tava Vikramostu Bana Vimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Shanta Vapunka Ruchiravati Tigmadanto Kasmaya Yungshasivane Vicharana Vidma Shemaya no Jadadiyang Tava Vikramostu Bana Vimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Shanta Vapunka Ruchiravati Tigmadanto Kasmaya Yungshasivane Vicharana Vidma Kshemaya no Jadadiyam Tava Vikramostu Banavimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Avapung Chiravati Tigmadanto Kasmai Yayung Shasivane Vicharan Nivudma Yano Jadadiyam Tava Vikramostu Banavimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Antava Punkara Chiravati Tigmadanto Sayayung Shasivane Vicharan Nividmaha Shemayano Jadadiyang Tava Vidmamostu Panabhimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Shantava Punkara Chiravati Tigmadanto Kasmai Yayung Shasivane Vicharani Vidmaha Yayo Jadadiyam Tava Vikramostu Matajis. A little louder, please. Banavimo Bhagavatak Shatapatra Patro Shantava Punkara Chiravati Tigmadanto Kasmai Yayung Shasivane Vicharani Vidmaha Shemaya no Jadadiyam Tava Vikramostu. Okay. It's nice, we're back on verse again now, meter, so to speak. Srila Prabhupada very much liked the devotees to chant these verses loudly, repetitively. It's a science. It's like we repetitively chant Hare Krishna over and over and over again. There's no stopping, no beginning, no end. Krishna has no beginning or end. And similarly, these verses, they're transcendental. Every verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, as we've been hearing, is totally transcendental. And one of the, they didn't bring the achaman today. Today we need it. Never mind. There's no even water for drinking. Is it a fast day? Nirjala Ekadashi today? It's Jayadev Goswami's disappearance day today. But we don't observe complete fast today, do we? Not a fast day, is it? The days go faster and faster as you go older, but different type of fast day. Prabhupada emphasized that we should chant these mantras. They're very purifying. And this section, I don't know what today, let's see, but this section particularly deals with, you can say, the a very common affair of becoming tempted by the sense objects. Of course, it's not by chance. It's, Krishna arranges sense objects are there because we have a little bit of a tendency towards attraction to the sense objects. But one of the processes of training children specifically, anyone, never too late, is to chant loudly mantras, Vedic mantras. They have a unique, Sanskrit language also has a unique effect. In fact, in many places in the world, I don't know about many, but in several Western schools, not anything to do with Krishna consciousness directly, they teach Sanskrit, and the children learn Sanskrit, Western kids, some of the more erudite schools, because they know that this has a very important effect on character. It's not just a language. It's a sound vibration which affects our consciousness. And specifically from the childhood beginning, there's a much better chance, depending on the character of the child to begin with to a certain extent, but there's a much better chance that the child will not be so disturbed by mundane sound vibrations, mundane attractions. So it's a scientific process. And we do only a little bit maybe, but loud recitation of verses is a very effective method of sense control. So Prabhupada would like the devotees to chant these verses loud and clear, repetitively. We'll read the word for word. Bano, 2 arrows. We heard the 2 bows yesterday. Today we've got 2 arrows, getting closer. Imau, these, Bhagavata, of you, the most powerful. Shatapatrapatro, having feathers. Feathers. You know what? Feathers. Feathers. Having feathers like the petals of a lotus flower. A bit long, that wasn't it? Anyway, you got the idea. Shanto, peaceful. Apunka, without a shaft. Ruchirao, very beautiful. Atitigmadantao, having a very sharp point. Kasmai, when. Yuyumshasi, you want to pierce. Vane, in the forest. Vicharan, loitering. Navidmaha, we cannot understand. Kshemaya, for welfare. Naha, of us. Jadadiyam, who are dull-headed. Tava, your. Vikramaha, prowess. Astu, maybe. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. You should always remember every day, and actually reading the other day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was saying that we should glorify the spiritual master for at least 1 hour a day. Because this is a form of glorification. We're hearing and glorifying his words. We sing his glorifications at Mangalarti, Guru Puja, different times. But it's good to try to, speaking to myself, but to try to be conscious. To try to be conscious or aware of his association. It's not just a physical interaction, but a conscious awareness. It purifies our heart. As we heard the other day, it's solely by the mercy of the spiritual master that we can get Krishna. And it's only by the mercy of Krishna that we can possibly become delivered from our condition in the world, in this material world. It's entirely dependent upon that mercy. So we try to be conscious of our association. Take the mercy. Prabhupada many times said, the mercy is there, you just have to take it. One time, here in Vrindavan, Prabhupada said that I'm giving you Krishna. This is in London, actually. He said, I'm giving you Krishna. Just take him. Just take Krishna. Prabhupada's giving us this opportunity to, instead of taking material sense gratification as the goal of life, my highest pleasure in life, Prabhupada is giving us the real pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure, Krishna. We take advantage of this opportunity. Then, because this is the chapter dealing with the activities of Maharaj Agnidra, the son of King Priyavata. We've been hearing about that. Then Agnidra, because at this time, Purvachiti, the Apsaras, appeared on the scene, tinkling her bells, just like devotees do the same. We go on Sankirtan tinkling the bells, right? Sometimes people say, the Hare Krishna devotees, those people who tinkle bells, bell tinklers. And we're the same thing, we're trying to attract the attention of the conscious, of the mind of the public by tinkling the bells. We bang a few drums and a few other things. But bell tinkling is also there, very attractive. Sometimes it's said that the kartels are like the ankle bells of the gopis, tinkling. It's attracting people away from Maya to Krishna. Similarly, Krishna also has beautiful ankle bells. Beautiful, we heard yesterday his beautiful features, his qualities, to attract our attention. You have to have that panandrishtva, that higher taste. There has to be an alternative. It's not just a question of no, 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 no. Sometimes we forget. It's a positive thing. We have to have that alternative. No matter who we are, it's the same for everyone. Sannyasi, brahmachari, grihasta, woman, man, black, white, big, small, fat, thin, whatever we are. The process is the same. We have to somehow or another become attracted to Krishna in his various forms. He's very kind. He comes in many forms. Prasadam, easy one. Holy name. Here we have Bhagavatam. Then Agnidra, so now it's getting closer. Then Agnidra observed the glancing eyes of Purvachiti and said, my dear friend, you have two very powerful arrows, namely your glancing eyes. Can you hear at the back? Yes. You sure? Because in this weather, the voice sometimes, I noticed everyone's voice was a little bit down, a little bit rough. It's nice, cold, damp weather. I hope you can hear. Try to hear. Hearing is the secret of, let's say, purification of consciousness, mercy, but the method of reception is our endeavor to hear. Try to hear. Hearing is the primary, you could say, sacrifice which we have to perform. Those arrows have feathers like the petals of a lotus flower. Very soft and beautiful. Although they have no shafts, they are very beautiful, and they have very sharp, piercing points. They appear very peaceful, and thus it seems that they will not be shot at anyone. You must be loitering in this forest to shoot those arrows at someone. But I cannot understand whom it is. My intelligence is dull. I cannot combat you. Indeed, no one can equal you in prowess. And therefore I pray that your prowess will be for my good fortune.
Purport. Agnidra thus began appreciating Purvachitti's powerful glance upon him. He compared her glancing eyes to very sharp arrows. Although her eyes were as beautiful as lotuses, they were simultaneously like shaftless arrows. And Agnidra was therefore afraid of them. He hoped that her glances upon him would be favorable, because he was already captivated. And the more captivated he became, the more impossible it would be for him to remain without her. Agnidra therefore prayed to Purvachitti that her glances at him would be auspicious, not futile. In other words, he prayed that she would become his wife. End of purport. So this is a somewhat common, graphically explained here in the verse and the purport, very common experience, as we were hearing from Janananda Maharaj yesterday, Bhakti Anugraha Janananda Maharaj, how this attraction is there amongst all species of life. By nature we are attracted. Nothing wrong with that. We're meant to be attracted as iron filings are attracted to a magnet. We can't avoid it. It's just a matter of the object of our attraction. In this case, we've been hearing, of course, Agnidra, the object of his attraction at this point of time is that he wants to have a wife. He wants to enjoy, at least on the mental platform, the idea is there that one can enjoy if one gets married. One can satisfy one's desires. Some of you are married. Some of you have been married, maybe you're not married anymore. Some of you are thinking about getting married. Some of you are trying to avoid the thought of getting married. Some have been married several times. Right? Truth is the truth. One time there was a story of this guru and his disciple. Don't take it wrongly, because, married life or single life, whatever is favorable for Krishna consciousness. If one has the right husband, the right wife, it can be very favorable for spiritual life. But still, it's not always what we dream it's going to be. I know when I got married a long time ago, my wife thought I was a pure devotee. She soon found out I wasn't. Things changed quickly. And my thoughts about her being, as I say, something which, the mind dreams of soon came to an end too. But still, the object of married life, the object for a devotee of everything is Krishna consciousness. Then it can become favorable. Yes, there will be lessons to be learned. Some of them not so pleasing. Some of them, oh boy, why did I do this? Why did I get myself into this? Sometimes we may think, but that's what we have to go through to learn the lessons of life, to wake up. And children, responsibility all expands once we have the wife. The expansion begins. That's why she's known as Stri. And literally means expansion. soon as married life is there, you've got to have a house, more or less. It's rare to find a wife who's satisfied living in the brahmacharya ashram for too long. When I joined ISKCON, it was the case. Husband and wife, they lived in the brahmacharya and brahmacharya ashrams. Kids lived with the wife in the brahmacharya ashram, driving the other girls mad. But that was how it was. We all did the same thing. It's not usually the case now, maybe some exceptions. Usually the wife in this day and age is not happy to live in a straw hut like Sudama Vipra. Very rare. No electricity, no washing machine, no electric cooker, no heaters, no mobile phones, no mod cons, simple sari, no makeup. It's very rare. Maybe some exceptions. Kali Yuga is usually quite complicated. You've got to go to work, got to get a job to pay for it all. That's how Kali Yuga works. And children come, struggle. Those rays of Vishnu turn out to be a little different than rays of Vishnu. You monsters. No, excuse me. Lovely. Different, it varies. Every kind of variety is there. Krishna arranges exactly they're the right ones for us to teach us the lessons we need to know, to release us of our dream, to wake us up, and vice versa. We're those parents, whatever they may think of their parents, just arranged for their necessary sojourn of life also. Nothing by chance. Krishna, for the devotee, is really trying to make arrangements, even if we fall a little bit into that little andakupa, that well of family life. We may get a little stuck up sometimes. It's quite common in the beginning when we get married. Get a little bit sort of like carried away with it all. Trying to, especially if you've been, as I say, avoiding it maybe a little too long or something. And you kind of jump in there, you haven't had good training. Brahmacharya training is not this kind of training where you kind of like look on the opposite sex with horror or something, Yamunacharya's prayer doesn't say when he thinks of women, he spits at them. That's not what it says. He spits at the thought, not at the woman. Sometimes brahmacharyas have it a little wrong, and they sort of, women, get out of here. He's a brahmacharya, go away. Sometimes fanatic brahmacharyas are there too, occasionally. It's a sure sign they want to get married. Both ways, usually. Is maturity, and what is, compatible, you could say, for the maturing spiritually, materially of the conditioned soul. And that's not easy to work out in Kali Yuga. It's multiply very difficult, and we make so many mistakes. It's just the way it is in Kali Yuga. It's ocean of faults. But the principle is there, at least. It's to try to purify our consciousness. Sometimes it does go through a little bit of not everybody, some devotees are mature, we've seen, right from the beginning, right match and maturity is there. And they don't waver in their devotion. You do get those exceptions. Or sometimes you start off like, fanatics, not fanatics, but very enthusiastic. Don't follow all the principles strictly, we're going to be the ideal grihasta couple. The perfect example, yada charity shreshtas tatevetaro janaha. The whole world will be looking at us. We're going to have children who are going to save the world. We're going to show the perfect example. Our preaching by our example will change the lives of everybody. It's nice to have that, but it doesn't always work out like that. It's in some cases, but it doesn't always work out. The struggles and the challenges and the various tests that we have to go through, don't become disheartened or depressed. There's light at the end of every tunnel. Even if we're deep in the andakupa, Maitunya Agara in the shackles of even sometimes sex life. Let's not be, too, what do you say, holier than thou, too kind of like up in a dream cloud or something. It's pretty much understood that most grihastas are not following 100% as much as they would like to, or as much as we prophesy, as we speak. Oh yes, we do this and we do that. Of course we should try to. Reading verses from Bhagavatam, there are hundreds of verses, we won't have time. It's a very good book, especially for grihastas, called Brahmacharya and Krishna Consciousness. If you're a grihasta, you haven't got this book, it's a very good book. But you have to be mature enough to read it. It's actually, Prabhupada spoke. You know how many times he mentioned, I don't know, just the two words coupled together, sex life, about 2,500 times, and that's only the recorded times. That's just the recorded ones. Millions, probably millions, I don't know. But many times, not recorded. Thousands and thousands of times he spoke on this subject. And in many of the lectures, Prabhupada would say, it is not our business to talk about this. We do not want to talk about this. And then you go, but. It's such an important subject. Basically, it's the underlying problem of all problems. Practically every problem is based on sex desire. Even managerial problems, maybe subtle sex desire, name, fame, adoration, distinction. Different forms, subtle desire expands, proprietorship, it's also sex desire. Control over others, all sex desire. It's the root of all evil. Is that what they say? No, money, they say money is the root of all evil. They say love makes the world go round. And round and round and round and round. As we go in our samsara cycle, this so-called love, Krishna doesn't call it love, what does he call it? Lust. Kama esha, krodha esha, vajaguna samudbhavaha, mahashama mahapapma vidyenam ira varinam. Varinam, this enemy, the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world, Varinam. It's the enemy. It's lust. Anger, as we read the other day, Prabhupada said, anger is the younger brother of lust. There's a big family. Lust has a very big family. Lots of brothers, sisters, children, uncles, aunts, grandfathers. Very big family. Once you marry into that family, boy, there's no end. There's no end to it. It never comes to an end. Isn't it? Isn't that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita? Dushparena lena cha. That this kamarupena konteya, this kamarupena, this form of lust, burns like fire. Burns like, more you feed it, the more it rages. By Prabhupada's grace alone, we have a chance to get out of this blazing fire of material existence. He's giving us this opportunity. I was going to read something, but the printer wasn't working this morning, so we can read about Jayadev Goswami. I've got a little bit of notes there. The story I never told of, I don't know who told the story, but probably I don't think, maybe Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj told the story of a disciple. It even happens, even in our own ISKCON society. This may not be in ISKCON, but there's this disciple of the Guru who had a little bit of inclination towards the opposite sex. He wanted to get married. Okay. He chose his wife. Or maybe he didn't. He had a wife. Arranged. It didn't work out. I can't handle it. I'm getting out. He left. Separated. Came back to the Guru. Guru Maharaj, that marriage didn't work out. I want to get married again. Guru could see he was going to do it anyway. Like Prabhupada sometimes, he allowed these things because he knew they were going to do it anyway. No question of coming and asking permission, asking for advice, but rather asking permission. So, okay, he got married again. Didn't work out. It went on 3 or 4 times. Kept coming back to the Guru, I want to get married again. Okay. Next time he came back, the Guru was sat there at the table. He had a bowl of very, very hot chilies. The hottest chili you can imagine. They call them sharks, these little tiny dry things, so small. They're like fire. And he saw his Guru Maharaj was eating chilies, one after the next. Another one. And he said, Guru Maharaj, why are you eating those chilies? He said, I'm sure that eventually one of these chilies will become sweet. You may laugh, boys, and don't take it wrongly, young ladies and grihastas, because it doesn't apply just to this. It applies to material life in general. Life after life after life we think we can enjoy. And it's not like, sometimes we hear, but most of the verses they're talking about, almost like they're directed. And in one sense they are. I mean, let's see, Bhagavatam was spoken to. I never saw any mention of ladies present when the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, initially. It was spoken to very advanced male members of society so that they could disseminate this knowledge throughout the spectrum of society. That's the idea. Their responsibility. So when there are verses which seemingly almost put the ladies, the women in a category of being almost insignificant or almost a burden, it's misunderstood sometimes. They have to be understood by maturity, not by simply a hammer. People, all they know is, if all people know to do is hammer nails in, they cannot understand these things. Misuse of knowledge. It has to be understood properly as to what the goal is. After all, don't forget, ladies, in your previous life you were a man. And because you were infatuated by a woman, you become a woman. That's how it works. That's why it says infatuation of a woman is the greatest bondage. Because we go from one to the other. It's not, I'm a man, she's a woman. It's a load of rubbish. Right now you have a male or female body, you have to use it appropriately to escape this material world, that's all. To get out of it. It's not a question of one maybe better for certain things, better for other things, so what? If you use it properly, it will have the same effect. If we misuse it and use it for someone else's business, what Bhagavad Gita practically is aimed at, is learning or understanding what is the proper utilization of the situation we're in, the capacity we have, the abilities we have, the karmas we have, etc., so that we can get free of all this bondage in the material world, so we can get free of karma, lust in its many, many forms. That's the idea. That's the idea. But because especially in Kali Yuga, envy, ignorance, envy are so prominent, people don't understand this. Even we devotees often don't understand it. And we think that by manipulation of a certain way that we'll achieve success. But what is the use of fame amongst the infamous? We want to please Krishna. We want to please Prabhupada. It's not about pleasing ourselves or pleasing our groups, pleasing society. Who cares a damn? What difference does it make? You please a bunch of idiots. So what? Please the material society for what purpose? I mean, if it helps them to become Krishna conscious, fine, but otherwise it's a complete waste of time. And Prabhupada said it one time, even if nobody Even if nobody is pleased with what you're doing, if